Now, this is one of the big news. So Blockfi, for those of you who don't know, is a company where they give you, it's a centralized finance company for crypto, where if you lend them your money or any coin, they will give you quite a bit of interest back for lending them the coin. Well, they just got fined by SEC for $100 million. So SEC is the United States Security and Exchange Commission. They oversee all of these security offerings in the markets in general. So if you're a company that offering security services, you need to go through them to register. So basically, they got fined $100 million. Now that's a lot by SEC standards. But in terms of crypto, we know $100 million is not that much because if, for example, the Wonderland Treasury was like almost $1 billion, right? So $100 million may not be much for a company like Blockfi, but this does send a signal to all of the other companies which offer similar services. So for their competitors like Crypto.com, right? Again, I am not affiliated with any of these companies, but basically Crypto.com, Gemini Earn, they all do similar things. They give you these really high APY, 14.5%. Now compare that to traditional banks, which is giving you about 0.05% on your savings in the bank. Crypto.com can offer you 14.5% on your crypto. So that's on stablecoins. So you can deposit USDC and they'll give you 14% APY on that. Now, how do people wondering like how exactly were they able to do that? Well, there is a catch to it. Of course, there's always a catch. So let's see, Gemini gives you, I think about 7% on your Gemini stablecoin. So same type of thing. All of these services do the same thing. They take your coin and then they invest it. Well, they lend it out to institutional investors for higher amount of return than what they give you. That's how they make the profit. Maybe it's like a slightly more than what you get, 14. Maybe they get like 18% or 17%. They take the 5%, 3%, and then they give you the 14.5%. So this will attract a lot of people into the platform to deposit their money because who wants to put their money in the bank when the bank can only give you 0.05%, right? But what is the golden rule in crypto? The golden rule in crypto is the higher the APY, the higher the risk. So, of course, in the US bank, you can deposit your money, and the United States bank will have this FDIC insurance. If the bank goes out of business, you're guaranteed to pay out a certain amount of money. I think that was like $250,000 per account. So they are insured in the United States banks. And if the banks fail, the government can come in and bail them out. Now, what's the difference? Crypto.com, Gemini Earn, or Blockfi, they all do similar things. They say, okay, you deposit your money, we'll make it work. We'll take it to work. We'll lend it out to somebody and do this stuff, and then we'll give you 14.5%. Now, with this higher APY, there's a higher risk. What is the risk? The risk is that you are not insured. Now, that's the biggest risk of them all. You are not insured. What does that mean? That means if Crypto.com gets hacked, if your account gets hacked, if you go out of business, or if the institution that they lent the money out goes out of business. Let's say they lend the money out to ABC Corp. And then ABC Corp takes the money, leverages like 10x to put it in some risky stuff, and then they go bust. That means your money is gone. There is no way you can make your money back. That's the risk. So I recommend you guys to read through all of their fine prints. All of these sites, they all have these fine prints at the bottom about what happens to the money. So they are not responsible if the company goes out of business, if they lost some money to hacks. Some companies will try to reimburse you because they don't want the bad press, but that's not guaranteed. They don't have to do that. So that's why you get this high APY. Now, what is the SEC saying about these companies? Well, if we read through this whole thing here, I read through it. So basically they charge Blockfi Blockfi paying twice, $50 million each for each stock or each act in the United States government. So one of them is the Investment Company Act of 1940. Now these are time-tested acts by the SEC. They can enforce it. So Blockfi agreed to pay a $50 million penalty. Let me zoom this in. Blockfi agreed to pay to a $50 million penalty and cease its unregistered offer and sales of the lending product, Blockfi interest accounts. So this is their lending thing we just spoke about. So they paying $50 million because they were unregistered. So they will attempt to bring its business with the provision of the Investment Act within 60 days. So they're going to try to restructure the business to make sure it's aligned with the act within 60 days. So Blockfi's parent company announced that it intends to register under the Security Act 1933 and offer and sell a new lending products. Now they were not registered before, and that's why there's a fine. So Blockfi agreed to pay additional $50 million in fines to 32 states to settle similar charges. Now, for those of you who live in New York, you cannot sign up for Blockfi for their project. You also cannot sign up for Crypto.com because they are unregistered in New York, and New York has a very, very strict law about that. Now, however, Gemini Earn, you can do it in New York because Gemini Earn actually has a license to do it, to offer this product. Now, that is the only difference. I don't think Gemini will get in trouble, but I think Crypto.com might also get into a similar trouble with the SEC. Now, Gary Gensler, remember, this is a guy we thought that could be very pro-crypto, and I do want to think that this is actually good news for crypto, so I'll explain. So basically, they're saying that Blockfi lending platform offers securities, like this product, which say immediate notice, blah, blah, blah. So they want them to shut them down. You can't offer this service without going to the SEC, without going to register your service. And Blockfi admitted they just don't want to take this further. They just like, okay, we'll pay the $100 million fine. So here it explains what the product does. So Blockfi failed to do so. They failed to exempt from the SEC registration. That's why Blockfi, it operated more than 18 months as an unregistered investment company because it issued securities and also held more than 40% of its total assets, excluding cash, in investment securities, including loans of crypto assets to institutional borrowers. See, this is what I was talking about. That's what they do with your money. They loan it out to institutional borrowers to get a higher APY and then pay you the difference. That's how they do it. That's how they make money. It's a money printer. It's a really good money printer because if you think about it, you take on all the risks. All they do is they are the middle person. They lend it out to someone else. So compared to DeFi of what we do, this is totally going against the idea of decentralization. This is centralized DeFi at its core. And Crypto.com, Blockfi, Gemini, they're all middle person. They just take your money, lend it to someone, and they take the cut for that. That's very risk-free business, if I would say. Definitely printing a ton of money. And then the order also finds that Blockfi made a false and misleading statement for more than 2 years on its website concerning the level of risk in its loan portfolio and lending activity. Without admitting or denying the SEC finding, Blockfi agreed to cease and desist in order to prohibit it from violating the registration. So Blockfi basically said, all right, screw you guys, I don't want to go to court and go to this long battle. We're just going to pay you $100 million. That is the gist of this whole news. It's pretty, I think it's actually bullish for crypto. Why? Well, if you think about it, this is actually a type of regulation and transparency into what the SEC is thinking about products like this. And I think it's providing some sort of precedence for any future companies that wants to do the thing. When you have this, it sets a rule, right? Like if the next company who wants to offer the same type of security, they probably want to go through this whole thing, go through these acts, register with the SEC. So there's more chance that the next company that does this will go through a more traditional path to make sure that they are compliant. I think Gemini does it really well. Again, I am not affiliated with Gemini, but they went through the whole rigorous process of registering with the SEC, registering with the New York law, which is one of the strictest in the country to offer this product. I think this will tell a lot of companies to do the right thing. I think Crypto.com might do that next to make sure they're not getting fined. But they're printing money right now. 14.5% is very attractive to the average investor. So I think this is good news. But what's bad about this is, also SEC told them to shut down their service in the United States until all of this is compliant. Now, what does this say? This is actually bad for the United States because now Crypto.com or all of these companies can offer it outside of the United States. They don't have to offer it inside the United States. And what does that mean? That means the US will probably lag behind in terms of crypto innovation or companies that are offering services for crypto, it will actually create a less competitive atmosphere within the United States compared to the rest of the world. So, but again, this provides a clarity for what we want to go forward, what the SEC think about this. And in the end, what can I see this $100 million? I think this $100 million is more of like a bribe to Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam wants his share. You don't want the company to make all this crazy money and the Uncle Sam not getting any of it, right? So you got to pay the man off $100 million. So that is the crypto news for Blockfi. It's, yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this. It's kind of weird, but I think it's actually a good path moving forward. So let me know what you think in the chat or in the comments below.